Hello and welcome to Katrinas Creations. This is the Friday edition, and I told you on Saturday I didn't know what we would be doing, so surprise, here's what we're doing. I thought I would show you my grandmother's doilies. I think I've shown this in the past, but it's been a couple of years, so I pulled those out as well as one that two doilies that I've made. Mine are nowhere near as complicated as the ones my grandmother made. But we will show you what we've got here. And the ones that I made I know the name of, but the ones that were my grandmother's I have no idea. I just always remember her crocheting. I never remember seeing her knit, but I did see her crochet. And I remember when I was a kid she had crocheted we had a little stuffed elephant. She had like a box of toys we could all play with, and she had a little crocheted panda bear and a little crocheted elephant, and those were in there. I think they went through all of, I'm the oldest of all the grandkids, because my dad's the oldest of the 5 siblings, but I think it went through all of my cousins, my brother and me and all of my cousins, with that little box of toys and the 2 stuffed animals that got drug all over her apartment. But she used to make these doilies, and then she would dip them in sugar water. That's how she did them, rather than starch. And then she would pin them on the carpeting all around her apartment living room. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna turn the camera around so you can check out the doilies. So I will start with the first of my grandmother's doilies that I have. Some of them aren't going to actually fit on the screen. I'll have to kind of spread them around a little bit. But this one actually looks like it was done with a little bit heavier thread. I mean, it's still the yarn weight that you use for doilies, but if you look closely, and there is a little staining here, it does look like it's a little thicker compared to some of the other ones, especially here you can see it. But I'll hold this up so you can get a good idea. There's lots. I can recognize the stitches with the double crochets and the chain stitches. And then here it looks like she did a bunch of single crochet around the edges here. This one I could actually, I think, maybe make myself. Some of these other ones are a lot more intricate and they would be harder, but this one, this part of it reminds me very much of the one I'm going to show you that I made, which I'll show you in a few minutes, because mine, it has a center and it literally has one each of these. So that part, I can see where this was, how this was made to an extent. It might be one I could actually tackle. I don't know that I will, but I feel like with some confidence I could maybe do this one. So that is the first one, and it is good sized. It's about 1.5 feet across from here to here. So that's the first one. This is a much larger and much more delicate one. I might have to move the camera up to be able to show it to you in its entirety, because this one is very good size. So let me pull the camera up a little bit so you can see it. I've got it up, but it's still not totally in the camera, because this is probably about 2 feet across to go all the way, and it is round, so it is 2 feet all the way in both directions. But yeah, this one is very, very delicate. It is a thinner yarn than the last one I showed you. So let me pull it back down so we can look at it a little more intricately. So here is the center section. And again, it looks like a lot of double crochets here. This is not one I think I would feel comfortable tackling, but it's a flower motif. And then there's these little petals that come off from here. These kind of look like leaves. And then they go all the way out to here, but in between is like a fan of webbing in between each of the petals. This kind of looks like a sheath of wheat is what there's exactly, I think that's exactly what it is, or maybe a fern. Maybe these are supposed to be a fern. And then we have these smaller I'm assuming are supposed to be flowers or leaves here. Like I said, then they go out all the way to the end, and then they have this fan pattern here as well. So yes, this is very, very delicate. There's a lot of chain stitches in between here. But yeah, this is very, very light, very delicate. It's much lighter weight yarn here than what was used on this one, where you can see the difference of thickness. Because this is chain stitched here, this is chain stitched. And you can see the difference. This is much thicker than this one is. So then we'll move on to her next one. I have, let's see, here it is. This one does have a stain on it I've got to play with and see if I can get it off. It was a candle that dripped. So I should be able to get that off with a little bit of heat and a brown bag and an iron. And you know what I'm noticing? This is the same pattern that I just showed you. It's just smaller because this one is maybe about 15 inches across, but this is the same pattern. I never noticed that till I put this out. But if you look, here's those same wheat patterns that are in this one. It's just on a smaller scale. So the same wheat patterns, this same portion of the pattern here is repeated here. And here's those same webbing. So this is just the same pattern, but on a much smaller scale. Interesting. I've had this for years and I never noticed till I put these out together that they are the same pattern. And this again is done with the real thin yarn. And it's funny because this thicker one that she did here, on the edges, she actually did single crochet around the chain stitches, so it has a thicker edge to it, where the last two that I've showed you, she didn't. These just end with a slight, it looks like a slight picot edge right here, because I'm seeing it in all of them. So yeah, it has a small little picot edge to them. So interesting, but I need to work on getting that stain off of there. But yeah, pretty pattern. If any of you know what this pattern is, let me know, or any of these patterns, let me know, because it'd be interesting to find out. I don't know when these were made. My grandmother passed away in the early 2000s, so she's been gone about 20 years now, and she wasn't crocheting for the last, I'd say, 10 to 15 years before she passed away. She was in her mid-80s when she passed away. So yeah, I'm thinking these were probably made somewhere between the 70s, 1970s up to the 1990s, somewhere in that time period when she made these. And she would make these. Some of these were hers when she passed away. None of my relatives wanted them. And so I said, since I'm a crocheter and a knitter, I would love to have them because I know how much work goes into them. But she used to make them and give them away as gifts. I've shown an Afghan that my mother had that my grandmother had actually made. This is my dad's mother, not my mom's mother, but my dad's mother that would do the crocheting. And so, yeah, I have her Afghan, and that I know was made in the 70s, and it's very lacy as well. So I have shown that before, but I'm guessing most of these were made between the 1970s and the 1990s. This is another one of my grandmother's doilies that I forgot about until after I filmed the video, but it's an oval shaped and it's very, very delicate. So it sits on my shelf over here with my great-grandmother's bean pot. And then I have this small doily here. Let me lift things off so you can see it. I have this one here that my grandmother also made, and it is a round doily. And it's small. It's only about 8 or 9 inches across. Now the last two I'm going to show you are mine, actually. This one I made for my mother, I think, and she gave it back to me when she was cleaning some things out, and I've got it upside down. This is called a fractal, and it's funny because I was doing it. I saw one of the viewers, Pam Phillips, made this, and I was like, oh, that's really pretty, and she was like, you could do this. I was just getting back into crochet at the time, and she's like, it's a simple pattern, you can do this. So she and I both made them at the same time. Let me raise this camera up so you can kind of get a better idea. So there you can see how it kind of fans out. And if you remember with this first doily of my grandmother's, I said it reminded me of it because see these fans here? If you took just 2 of those fans, it kind of looks like those 2. So that's why they kind of remind me of each other. This one was very simple. It was a paid for pattern. Like I said, it was called the fractal. And you just started in the center and went around, and then these were double crochets here, and they increased with each row, or every 2 rows, because it's like 2 crochet. Let me move it down so you can see a little bit better. But you increase going out here. That's what causes this flare. So here we go. Once you finish this round part, then this flared out part, you have like 2 rows of 2 double crochet, 2 rows of 3, 2 rows of 4, 2 rows of 5, and so on until it gets whatever size you want it to be. You can make this as large or small. So that is this one. And the other one that I have is the same pattern, but done much smaller and with some thicker yarn. So I did this to use as a centerpiece on my kitchen table because my house has a lot of blue and yellow in it. So this is the same fractal pattern. It's just done smaller. If you notice the center section here is smaller, and I only went out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only went out to 9 across here, so it's not as large. So, and this one from corner of the longest corner here to the longest corner here is probably about 2 feet, but when you look at it all together this direction, it's only, you know, from the shortest section here, it's only maybe a foot. So yeah, I set it in the center with the flowers and stuff in the middle of it. So those are my doilies that I have, those that I've made, that my grandmother made. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to check out some more crochet tutorials, I will put a link right here at the end of the video for you to check out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again on Saturday. Bye, everyone.